What is up, beautiful people of the internet? I go by the name of Wesley, and today we are reacting to our boy Andrei, the Rise of Faceless Creators. I'm super stoked. I love a little edutainment. I love a little animation, and Andrei just takes the two and just makes them smash into a smorgasbord of YouTube enjoyment. And there's ducks, and I'm mostly here for the ducks. That being said, guys, subscribe down below for more reactions. Please comment if there's other animators you want to see me do reactions to. I'm always looking for more awesome, amazing animators to check out. And if so, please comment other reactions or specific videos you want to see me do. That being said, Rise of Faceless Creators.
Over the past few years, there's been an interesting shift on YouTube in the way creators are branding their channels. If 10 to 15 years ago, being a YouTuber was just starting to catch on, and creators were revealing anything and everything about themselves in a bid to gain a following through relatability, it feels like today, keeping the mystery on anything even remotely personal is becoming the new norm. More and more of this website's top performers are faceless. There seems to be an entire trend nowadays of not revealing that much of your personal life online.
Who is this right here? Who's this? Is this just the elite cabal, the Illuminati watching over all of us, or is this a specific creator? Because I feel like it's very brave to use the Illuminati pyramid as your icon. It's just like, yeah, I'm here. This is the New World Order, baby. I'm in.
Not revealing that much of your personal life online, and surprisingly, the less the audience knows, the more they seem to engage. Take Corpse Husband, for example. Highly influential creator with over 7 million subscribers. Dream with almost 20 million. The rapidly growing VTuber community. Something has clearly shifted in entertainment culture, and it's very, very intriguing. So today I want to dive in on this topic and try to understand why exactly this is happening, but also what the future might hold for the creative industry as a whole.
I mean, I think it's super interesting because I definitely think as much as people want to minimize it, and I don't think if you actually look at most top YouTubers, I don't think that they actually are super duper. None of them are like ugly, but I'd say most of the top YouTubers aren't super duper good looking, just in general. So it's interesting, but at the same time, I do feel like there is a modality and a place for people to be able to get views from looks. And I do think that there is a certain level of enjoyment people get from seeing people's faces. I mean, David Dobrik's YouTube career, which he's kind of in a bad place right now, but like his vlogs and stuff, people loved his vlogs because they loved seeing people's reactions to stuff like GIFs and pranks and whatnot. I think I think there's always going to be a place for that, but I definitely get the faceless thing because then people can just project. It's like the reason people like reading book characters versus watching a movie, because when you're reading a book character, since there's no visual, you're free to imagine that character as you see fit. I think it's the same thing with the faceless YouTubers. The less you know about somebody, the more you fill in the blanks. Whereas that's why when like any movie comes out that's an adaptation of a book, no matter who is cast, there's always people who have a problem because that's not how they envision the character looking. My thoughts.
In a study conducted by Common Sense Media in 2019, it was found that most teenagers prefer to consume news content on YouTube rather than established news outlets because YouTubers appear to be more trustworthy. Similarly, and perhaps even more revealing, was a separate study finding that 4 out of 10 teens say that their favorite YouTubers understand them more than family and friends.
That's scary. That's scary. I do think that study is noting a real trend, but I don't think it is nearly applying. I don't think teenagers and kids are watching and getting news from YouTubers because they think they're more relatable or more reliable necessarily. I think a lot of it is due to the way that the news and the content format is delivered. Like YouTube is much more fun. It's just a different style. News is very stilted. There's no jokes. The format is annoying. There's so many ads. Like y'all think there are a lot of ads on YouTube. There are so many more ads in like traditional news media websites. I don't know. I feel like it's not necessarily. I think it's all of that baked into it as well.
That's right, 40% of teens are willing to place more trust in strangers on the internet rather than their own family. The issues here being self-evident. Well, but here's the thing, this is not something
depends on who your family
is. In the 1950s, when television was rapidly gaining mass adoption and the first TV shows entered people's homes, sociologists were quick to point out the side effects of that on the human psyche. Donald Horton and Richard Wohl wrote a paper in 1956 titled Mass Communication and Parasocial Interaction. They write, and I quote, "One of the striking characteristics of the new mass media, radio, radio, television, and the movies is that they give the illusion of face-to-face relationship with the performer. We propose to call this a parasocial relationship. The interaction, characteristically, is one-sided, non-dialectical, controlled by the performer, and not susceptible of mutual development. The performer can claim and achieve an intimacy with what are literally crowds of strangers, an intimacy which is extremely influential with and satisfying for.
Damn, whoever this performer is hitting all demographics. Daddy loves, mommy loves, daughter loves. Who is this performer? What is this content that would have these three like super disparate groups all this engaged into it? Like, what is it? I just want to know what the show is, because they are killing it.
Or the great numbers who willingly receive it and share in it. Now, this was written in 1956, half a century before YouTube even existed, but the same words perfectly describe an audience's relationship to online creators
100%.
today. What's more concerning this time around is that the parasocial relationship on YouTube is pushed much further than with television. If TV shows in the past were clearly one-sided, YouTube creates the perfect environment for simulating interaction, not to mention live streaming, where the interaction happens in real time. So
it's also interesting because when you have most TV shows, there are exceptions where people are themselves on TV, but when you have an actor playing a role, like Friends, which he was just showing, right? There's always some level of the audience knowing that the person that they love and have a quote-unquote relationship with is a character. They're not a real person. Like, in their head, they know it's an actor playing a character. I think one of the things with YouTubers is even if sometime a YouTuber isn't playing up their persona to be on camera, it's still them. Like, I'm still Wesley, and I'm still Wesley on camera, and my on-camera persona is the same as my off-camera persona, except, like, I'm like, yo, gotta wake up, I can't be sleepyhead, like, in the corner, you know what I mean? It's still me. And then, as a result, like, if you guys enjoy my on-camera persona, it's just me. So, therefore, it's easier for you to form an even stronger parasocial relationship because I'm not playing a character. So the relationship isn't with a character that you know isn't real. It's with a person that is actually there and is actually them. Even if it's like a slightly exaggerated or, I don't know, just the best moments of that person. I don't know. Does that make sense? It makes it even more insane. It's like you would freak out if you met if you met the actor who played Ross from Friends, right? But imagine if you could meet Ross from Friends. You would freak out so much more than meeting the actor.
We see how
But the YouTubers don't have a character. They are the actor and they are the character all at the same time.
dividing lines between a creator and their audience are very much blurred nowadays, if not entirely erased. This, of course, means there's a lot of responsibility that falls on the creator. But one aspect that tends to be overlooked, in my opinion, is the equal responsibility of the audience in respecting the creator's boundaries.
Absolutely.
There's been many situations where fans turned up to creators' houses, sometimes even
absolutely
parents
the
who
Team 10 house.
know better, brought their kids to see their idols. The common argument in situations like this being, my kids are the ones who made you famous, so you better come out here and take a picture with them. Stalkers have consistently been an issue for some of the largest creators on the website, and it's no secret that female creators in particular have it a lot worse than men. For example, in 2019, some random guy showed up to a female YouTuber's home with a syringe and a dildo. When asked by the authorities what in the hell he was planning, he simply said he wanted, and I quote, not to cause her physical harm, but to progress what he saw as their relationship. The Verge also covered the topic of audience entitlement, writing, because creators often earn money off of their fans through memberships, Patreon, and other cash avenues, there are fans who feel entitled to specific details about the lives of creators or even specific content. I mean, there's certainly a conversation to be had in regards to how much influence fans should have over the direction of a channel they're directly supporting, but when the content is revolving around someone's personality, we're talking about a group of people feeling entitlement/ownership over the creator's own person.
I think it's a really interesting take by Andrei. I would actually disagree. I don't think that there's ever any... I think a creator would be stupid not to listen to their audience, but I think that it's playing into this, like he's saying, unhealthy power dynamic for creators, for audience members to think they have any control over a channel. I think it's more of a situation where if you're an audience member, you can express dissatisfaction or you can express, oh, I'd love you to do this. But it gets unhealthy when you get upset or you get angry when or you think you should have control over it. That entitlement, that's where it starts to get, I think, toxic, especially because you, as the audience member, you don't have control over the channel, but you have control of what you watch. So if the creator's not giving you what you want, you can just stop watching them. And I think that's I think that's the healthier modality. And to be fair, though, I think some creators can't handle criticism and they think all criticism falls into this entitlement or hate or anything. It's like, no, if somebody followed you because you made cooking videos and now you're pivoting to making, I don't know, computer hardware videos, right? And they're like, yo, I followed you for cooking content. I'd really love to watch your cooking content. Like, you don't have to watch, you don't have to listen to their suggestion. Feel free to pivot. But if you lose your whole cooking audience, you can't, and they tell you like, hey, I'm leaving because was here for cooking content, you can't get mad at them and call them haters. You know what I mean? So I feel like it is on both sides. Also, some YouTubers play into this parasocial relationship. And I think sometimes it's okay and sometimes it's healthy and it gives people a place to belong in a community and whatnot. But sometimes it's very predatory. Sometimes there's people who prey on people who are desperate and looking for connections, and they try to extract money from desperate members of their audience who are just longing for a human connection, and they essentially take advantage of that mental health crisis to extract money and resources. Everybody's responsible for their own actions, but there is a line that creator behavior can cross where they're trying to engender this type of unhealthy obsession because it gets them money. And that's really dangerous too.
There seems to be this inherent belief that because somebody has some level of fame, they no longer have the same right to privacy that everyone else is allowed. And by the way, we also see this with commentary videos. A mistake that I myself have made in the past was to think that because someone has a large following, it's okay to go in a little harsher on them. And quite frankly, if I were to remake a few of my older videos, I would certainly be more mindful of that. But as easy a concept as it may be in theory, for whatever reason, it's not immediately obvious when looking at a public figure that they're a regular person with hopes and fears just like everybody else. I think this is a big reason why we're seeing faceless creators pop up more and more. By not revealing their identity online and by creating a persona, they're able to take the mask off at any moment and blend in through a crowd or enjoy a night out without worrying who's watching them.
Man, that's the thing that sucks, except for Corpse. Because Corpse's voice is so distinctive. If you listen to his interviews, and he's like one of the 2 top faceless creators, right? It just sucks because he's one of those guys that he can't take the mask off because even though he doesn't show his face, his voice is so distinctive that he's always scared that if he has to, or that if he interacts with somebody in any meaningful way by talking to them, in a human interaction, they'll recognize them. That's so sad, isn't it?
They build a brand separate to who they are in real life. Personal attacks, or in most extreme cases, harassment, can never get to them. Not to mention, anonymity provides the added benefit that the viewer can project whatever they want onto the faceless creator. By being vague and elusive, someone like Corpse Husband can draw in a much wider pool of potential fans because what they imagine him to be like, his looks, his interests, is equally valid. It's like Schrodinger's cat. If one fan believes Corpse Husband likes pineapple pizza, and the second one believes he doesn't, since the information will never be confirmed nor denied, both fans are right, and so neither one is turned off by the actual truth that he may not even like pizza at all.
It's really interesting to me because I found that this happens a lot with social or political views, and especially creators who don't talk about social or political views. Whoever the audience is, whether they're liberal or conservative, or the audience member, usually projects their own beliefs on to the creator. Like I said, if they're left-wing, if they're right-wing, or if they're just center of the road down the middle. And then they're often very surprised when that creator or that person isn't 100% aligned with their socio-political beliefs. I just think it's really interesting.
Whether that's intentional or not, it's actually pretty smart.
I don't think it's intentional.
One of the most common arguments brought against faceless YouTubers is, well, you're probably not showing your face because you're just ugly. And I think that has to be one of the most ridiculous things you could say to someone. As if somehow only pretty people are allowed to show their face online or be successful. That mentality is so outdated, and to be honest, I think it's very much rooted in envy. Here's what I mean by that. By just doing a quick search on YouTube, you can find tons and tons of advice videos on how to start a faceless channel, providing tips, comparing genres, going very much in depth on this topic. And none of these videos would exist, or at least not to the same extent, if there wasn't a huge demand for them. This suggests a large number of people would like to be in that position, to have a successful channel, but to also hold on to their privacy. So I think more and more, this will become the norm.
It's funny too though, because I'm like, okay, or there's a lot of ugly people. I'm just saying from their argument, there's a lot of ugly people who want to do YouTube. I'm just saying, like, that doesn't invalidate somebody's claim that, oh, you just want to do a faceless channel because you're ugly. Which, I don't think that's the case. I think it's usually, 90% of the time, I think it's a privacy reason. Or someone might not be ugly, but they could be self-conscious. It's very different. And there's some people who are legitimately physically ugly but are incredibly self-confident and they don't care. And so I think that the interplay there between self-confidence, privacy, anonymity, wanting to protect yourself from critique of your physical looks, because that's a big source of insecurity for a lot of people, and for good reason. And and by the way, I'm not saying anybody's wrong. Everybody has every right to protect any insecurity they have. Like, you don't have to put it out there for everybody to look at. I'm just saying, I think the interplay between those different areas is a lot more complex and valid than Andrei is giving it credit here. Because I do think a lot of people want to be faceless YouTubers because maybe they aren't insecure in their day-to-day life, but they don't want their looks to be put under that kind of scrutiny. And fair play to them. I think that's a completely valid position to take. But to pretend it's a non-factor, I don't think that that's true.
But what might be a convenient way of protecting one's identity might actually provide a glimpse into where the future of entertainment is headed. As we've already pointed out, audiences like to get involved in the content they consume. So there is a virtually untapped market for interactive content with fictional characters. The evolution of the VTuber community very much proves that. These are essentially anime characters voiced by real people, but entirely separate from the identity of the voice actor. The people who watch VTubers know the character isn't real, but that doesn't make the interaction with them any less exciting.
It's just like
furthermore, we already
actors.
have legitimate celebrities, if you will, who draw huge crowds in concerts like Hatsune Miku. We have quote-unquote robots with millions of followers on Instagram like Lil Michaela. These faceless virtual influencers, if we can call them that, have entire teams of people behind them. They don't eat, they don't sleep, there's no longer a concern for privacy, and most importantly,
there's no
never
burnout.
Experience burnout. And with
until the AI gets sufficiently advanced that they become sentient, and then they decide they don't want to do it.
And then Lil Michaela will become a dictator and use all their followers. They'll find that they have enough power and they'll overthrow the government, and Little Michaela will become the 73rd president in the US. You heard it here first.
Rapid evolution of augmented reality, it feels like this is the direction we're headed. Just look at Japan. They're always ahead of the game. Hatsune Miku was created in 2007 as an avatar for a voice synthesizer, and she has since exploded in popularity, becoming a legitimate marketing juggernaut.
And they don't age. That's the other thing. They don't age and they won't die. So, like, you know how people age out of demos? Like, I don't know, even Justin Bieber. Like, Justin Bieber isn't going to have the same appeal to 16-year-olds in 10 years when he's like 38. Yeah, he'll still be a really good-looking guy probably. He'll still be a very attractive man, but he won't have the same appeal he did when he was like a teen, when he was 16, 17, and the like teenage girls, teeny bopper scene loved him. Like, it's interesting. Like, Miku is never going to get too old for her audience, you know what I mean?
She appears on billboards. She's been in a commercial with Scarlett Johansson. And in 2020, she was set to perform at Coachella before the lockdown. So faceless YouTubers might just represent the beginning of a larger phenomenon. I can easily imagine a not so distant future, maybe 10 or 20 years from now, where faceless will no longer be the exception. Not just on YouTube, but in the entertainment industry as a whole. But I'm curious to hear your perspective on this. How important is it for you to be able to relate to the person you're watching? And would you feel comfortable if most celebrities would one day not even be real people? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you again very soon.
I really like Andrei. Even I know I was like, well, I don't know if I agree with that. I think it's a testament to how good of a creator he is that he's able to introduce these questions and foster discussion. And it's not like, I don't know, I feel like he's a really interesting guy, and I would legitimately enjoy sitting down and talking through these things with him. I will say, I don't think that faceless creators will ever fully replace face creators or face creators, whatever you want to call it. Faceless, face more creators. Just because, like I said before, there is just a human desire and need for interaction. And I think that there's something very visceral about seeing somebody's face and all of their subconscious micro expressions and stuff like that as they're going through and doing things or reacting to things. And I don't know, I think like the IRL content and vlogging content, I don't think that'll ever be completely replaced by faceless YouTubers. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe eventually like holographic technology will be so insanely good, face mapping will be so insanely good that it'll be able to capture all the little nuances of human facial expressions. I don't know. I doubt it'll ever get to that point though where faceless because faceless YouTubers kind of have to be in certain genres. They have to be in like sit-down videos. They have to do that kind of thing, virtual reality videos. And I think that there's something that we love, like, I don't know, Danny Duncan doing Jackass-style stunts is way cooler because he's doing it in real life, and he's Danny Duncan, and he's actually pulling this prank on somebody who could punch him, or he's actually, like, I don't know, driving his go-kart off a ramp because he could crash. If it's a cartoon or an animation or a faceless YouTuber, there's not that same sense of risk. So yeah, I think that it'll continue to grow, and I think it'll be really, really big. I don't think that there ever will not be a demand for faced content, though, whether that's in real life or reaction style content or anything like that. That being said, guys, please let me know your comments as well. That was super fun. I love Andrei. I think he brings up super, super interesting questions all the time. That being said, I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Like I said, please comment down below any other animators you want to see me react to and or specific videos you want to see me react to. This was super fun. I'm Wesley. I hope you all have a beautiful day. Subscribe for more reactions. Take care of yourself, and I'm